And we're back at Lake City Stars Arena. We apologize, we lost our signal there for a moment. But as we were talking, a young team that's played very hard, Coach. You can't fault them for the effort they put forth.
Well, again, I'm not really sure. When we lost,
we just lost it again.
Okay.
What's going on here?
And wins here in the last couple months of the year.
A.J. Tubolino stepping into the face-off circle. He'll be facing off against Matt Jodwin. And they'll get the seniors out there to open the game. Then they'll go into their regular lines. Off the face-off, dumped in the Massena zone. And Alan Borden racing back for the Raiders, trying to pick it up. He gets checked hard into the boards. Puck squirts free into the corner. They got it in front, but it's poke check back to the blue line. Here's a drive from the point. That's wide. That taken by Gagne, the big defenseman. Flipped in the corner. Borden thought he was going to go after it. Now Miller goes after it. There's a big maze of players all tied up in the corner. And big Thomas Franzon is there. And they score a goal as the puck came bouncing out in front. And I'm not sure who's going to get it, but it is a goal for Seton Catholic.
Well, the play started off to the left of Leroy Swamp. And as you said, there was a mass of players in the corner. And I think we just got out-muscled in the corner and out with the puck. I'm not sure of that number myself, but clearly he beat Leroy to the short side.
And again, Massena's bugaboo this year has been giving up the early goal, and that's happened here this evening. It's 1-0 Seton Catholic. That coming at just 30 seconds into the first period. And again, Massena not taking care of business in their own end, and that's what hurt them. Rogers line out there for the Raiders. The puck bouncing around, comes back to LaBarge at the blue line. He'll flip it out to the neutral zone, knocked away, and back inside. Nick Foster dumps it behind the net for Seton. LaBarge has it poked away. It bounces over into the corner for Trent Thomas. He banks it off the boards, not out of the zone. Here's a quick shot, doesn't get through. It's cleared into the corner by LaBarge. Still in the Massena zone. Puck sits in the circle. Rogers picks it up, bounces it to the blue line. Here comes Trent Thomas across the red line. He tries to flip it ahead. Following it up into the zone is Jared Bradish. Puck bounces into the corner and back after it for Seton Catholic. They try to come out of there as the puck comes out to center ice. Into the Massena zone it goes. And it's Kevin O'Connell flipping it and then following it into the corner. He'll drop it in behind the net as they try to move it around. That's Kellen Luckin. Luckin passes off. They got a man in front. It goes wide. Back to the point. O'Connell shot. Save made. And a good one through traffic. Raiders look to clear it and do. And it trickles all the way out to center ice. Massena's going to make a line change as O'Connell comes back for it for the Knights. Adam Smith trying to put some pressure on. Following up, the puck is dumped deep inside Seton Catholic territory by Zepi Ogene. Back to the point there, Danny Miller steps by a check. Miller flips it in the corner, looking for the return pass. It's tied up. Danny comes in to pick it up himself. Here's Miller, short side, right in front, backhander, bouncing around. It's cleared, and back to the blue line it comes and out to center ice. And here comes Seton Catholic back the other way. That's Jodwin, poke checked away and back out to center ice. Picked up there and dumped back in the zone by O'Connell. Goes deep in Massena territory. Raiders trail already 1-0. Miller flips it around the boards. Adam Smith. Smith kind of overskates and takes a hard check from Thomas Franzon. The puck bouncing around. They battle for it. Supernall, he has it poke checked away. Here's Franzon in behind. Centering pass. It's knocked away by Miller. Miller flips it into the corner. Has it poke checked by Anders Franzon back to the blue line. Controlled by Seton Catholic. In behind the net it goes to Danny Miller. Miller looks, flips on the wing. Adam Smith will move it ahead and bounce it off the boards out to center ice. Right there is Kyle Gagne flipping it ahead. Smith intercepts and dumps from the red line deep in Seton territory. Back after it, Kyle Gagne, the defenseman for Seton, comes out left side of his net. Headmans it, right on the wing it goes to Matt LeClaire. His shot is blocked, and it's Tubolino back to pick it up for Massena. Headman off the board, trying to move it out of the zone. Petrie takes a hard check. Puck bouncing to center ice, and Tubolino gets it out of the zone. Dumped right back in by defenseman Robert Gay. Around the boards it goes. Stopping in front is Franzon. He tries to center. Knocked away, bouncing around. Here's Anders Franzon. No, that's Kevin Brandon in behind the net. He's taken out of the play. Nice check by LaBarge. Comes to Thomas Franzon. Looks to center. Jodwin. Can he get a piece of the puck? No. It bounces back toward the blue line. Petrie picks it up. Starts out left side. Petrie just across the blue line. Trying to follow up is Jeremy Hadler. The puck tied up along the boards just outside the Massena zone. Petrie loses it, gets it back again, flips it to the neutral zone, dumped right back in by Kevin Brannon. Puck in behind the net, controlled by Massena. Here's the Raiders moving out left side. Tubolino just checked off and slides it inside Seton Catholic territory. Back out it goes. It's dumped into the Massena zone by Luckin. In behind the net. Evan Labarge with it. Labarge steps under a check, flips the puck ahead out to the neutral zone. Picked up there by Robert Gay. He dumps it right back in Massena territory. Stopped in behind the net by Leroy Swamp, the Massena goaltender. Swamp leaves it, side of the net for the defenseman. Some forechecking pressure by Seton Catholic. Here's Luckin's centering pass, knocked away. Goes back to the blue line. Robert Gay dumps it in the corner. Back to Kellen Luckin again. Centering pass shot saved right with a pad, or the mask, by Leroy Swamp. The Raiders pick up the loose puck. Here's Rogers out of his own zone. Rogers dumps it deep. They wave off the icing. Chasing in after Trent Thomas. Thomas and O'Connell go together. Puck bounces free side of the net and goes in behind the net. Around the boards, inside Seton territory. Borden can't keep it in, but Miller's got it at the red line. He backs to his own blue line for Massena. Here's Danny Miller, circling, picks up a forechecker, circles back again. He'll start out right side, looking for the bounce pass ahead. Across the blue line, Jared Bradish gets by the D. Can't get the shot off. Rogers tries to follow. He can't either. And the puck is dumped back into the Massena zone, as getting back for it is Alan Borden. Nice headman pass to Bradish. Bradish ahead to Trent Thomas. Thomas from center ice as he wants off. It's partially blocked, and right back comes Seton Catholic. Into the Massena zone. Robert Gay dumps it from center ice right on. Borden picks it up off Leroy Swamp's stick. Here's Borden, bounce pass. Zepi Ogene left wing. Ogene, nice headman pass right on the tape. Here comes Smith. Smith gets by one and is upended, and the puck picked up by the Knights. They'll bank it into their own bench, and we'll have a whistle. Long period of play without a whistle, John.
And that's probably the best thing that could happen to the Raiders at this point in the game. I thought that the early in that period, their legs were very heavy, very logy, and they weren't getting to the puck. They weren't getting to the man. I think that extended period of play has gotten the blood going, and I believe, and they've played better as a result of it.
Matt Supernaut out there, along with Adam Smith and Zepi Ogene. Ogene has the puck off the draw, takes it into the corner, right side of the goalie. Trying to center, but it's intercepted, and back comes Seton Catholic. Labarge looking to intercept, can't get a piece of it. Here comes Thomas Franzon. He tries to dump it off to his partner, Matt LeClaire, but the puck is knocked away, and back comes Massena the other way. Evan Labarge. Labarge takes it in left wing side for Massena. Here's Labarge. Sharp angle shot goes in behind the net and around the boards. The Knights look to clear, do not, as Adam Smith keeps it in. Now it's Whitcup taking a whack at it, but the puck picked up by Kyle Gagne. Gagne drops it. Brannon trying to get the return pass, but it's knocked away. Raiders look to control. It slips back to the Massena line and is flipped out to the neutral zone again by Evan Labarge. Puck dumped back in Massena territory. Labarge back after behind his own net as the Knights make some changes. Ahead to Sean Petrie. Petrie circles, flips it ahead, bounces it by everybody, goes all the way back into the Seton zone where Robert Gay picks it up. Gay behind his own net. He'll rip it around the board. Stepping in front is Tubolino. Takes it in behind. Steps by the check. Here's Tubolino circling into the corner. He'll drop it in behind. Hadler just dropping for Petrie. Petrie getting tied up behind the net by Kevin Brannon. They battle for the puck, and around the boards it goes. Pinching in, trying to keep it in is Ian Maxwell for Massena. The puck slides into the corner again, and in behind the net it's picked up by defenseman Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell outlet pass to the wing. It bounces to the Massena line as a couple of checks are thrown at neutral ice. Good job by Massena that time. Ian Maxwell flips it ahead out to the neutral zone where Robert Gay picks it up and dumps it right back in. Leroy Swamp is going to stop it and leave it for defenseman Danny Miller. And we lost our signal again. All right, hold on a sec. Okay. And we're back here at the Lake City Stars Arena. We apologize since they put the that metal stuff on. It's hard to get a signal in here. We're on a cell phone, of course. But the Raiders, after giving up that early goal, have played pretty well in this game.
7:29 here to go in the first period, and the Raiders have picked up play. At least for the last 4 minutes or so, the play has been down in the Seton Catholic end. Not many shots, but possession has been away from our defensive end.
Absolutely, off the draw. Here comes Seton Catholic back the other way into the Massena zone. They're going to dump it deep in behind the net. Evan Labarge picking it up for the Raiders. Slides it ahead to Rogers. Poke checked away. Labarge will have to circle back and grab it again. Throws a check behind the net. Doesn't know where the puck is. Then finds it. Flips it around the boards. Pinching in those. Kyle Gagne has it knocked away. The puck comes back toward the blue line. Battling for it there is Jared Bradish to the blue line. Not out of the zone. Gay dumps it in behind again. It'll rip into the corner left side. Labarge after it. Partially steps by a check. And Trent Thomas comes back for the loose puck. Here's Thomas coming out of his own end, looking for a man behind the D. Couldn't quite get it to him, but Jared Bradish had the right idea, and so did Trent Thomas with a long pass. Back comes Seton Catholic. It's Matt Leclaire. Has it knocked away. The puck sitting in the circle, center ice. Leclaire follows. Here's Leclaire. In the zone, Trent Thomas knocks it away, and he's checked out of the play. Puck bouncing into the circle. Thomas Franzon is there. He's checked by Whitcup. The puck squirts free to Anders Franzon. Centering pass in front, and it's fired just wide, and Leroy might have gotten a piece of it with a glove on the way by. Puck bounces to Trent Thomas. He'll bang it out of the zone, or try to. Does not clear the zone. Franzon takes it out back in again, but Massena will move it. It's Rogers. Here's Rogers down the right wing side. 1-on-2. He fires it wide, and the puck rips around the boards. Petrie pinches in, can't keep it in. He gets caught in the zone. He'll have to clear, but the Raiders dump it deep as they're racing in to pick it up for Seton Catholic. They have Franzon. Moves it, dumps it. Down the ice it goes. That should go far enough for icing, and the whistle blows, and we'll have a face-off. We're down to 5:52 left in the first period. Seton Catholic leading Massena 1-0. They still haven't announced the goal.
Very, very hard work on behalf of that first unit that they have with Kevin Brannon.
Well, they've changed these lines around.
They've changed them around pretty good, but Kevin Brannon's doing a heck of a job out there, as is Thomas Franzon. Thomas Franzon was very instrumental in that first goal if he didn't get it.
Right. I was going to say, my guess would be he might have had it. And looking at his reaction, but, it's hard to say. Off the draw, Raiders try to come in front. Hadler's shot, and I think the goaltender, St. Arnaud, got a save on that. Puck in behind the net. I think we're going to have our first penalty of the game. And it's going to be a cross-checking call against who?
I think it's going to go against Seton.
9:15 the time.
One of the things that you notice, and listening to you and Coach McLennan throughout the year, is that really what has been our Achilles heel has been our play inside our own end. We are not as confident as we would like to be in terms of making good passes. Oftentimes we're interested in getting rid of it rather than making a purposeful pass. I've noticed tonight that we're passing the puck a little bit more inside our own end, which is allowing us to get out under control.
That's right. Right off the face-off, Petrie got a weak shot, and Mark St. Arnaud made the save. Face-off right side. Puck sits in the circle. It's cleared, bounces high in the air, and I think it hit the ceiling joist. So we'll do it again.
Well, those girders they can't be 20 feet above ice level. So I imagine there's quite a few stoppages in play related to that.
Face-off will come back inside Seton territory. Raiders on the power play here. Their power play, I don't have Dave's stats with me, but it's been kind of anemic this year. Let's see what they can do here. Here's Borden at the blue line. Passes to Labarge. Labarge is shot up over the net. Got to keep those pucks on the ice. Raiders still control. Borden back at the blue line. Skates toward the middle. Lost it, got it back again, and then flipped it right in the slot, but it's intercepted by Brannon. Here comes Brannon into the Massena zone. Gets by the Massena defense. Brannon, short side shot. Swamp makes the save. Ooh, big save right there for Leroy Swamp. And Massena's given up 6 shorthanded goals this year, and that really hurts. Here comes Trent Thomas. Stick handling in the zone, has it knocked away. Bounces out to the neutral zone where Miller picks it up for Massena. He'll go over on the other side to Jeremy Hadler. Hadler dumps it in around behind the net. Picked up there by Gay. Gay to the blue line, but not out as Miller keeps it in, goes over to Hadler. Hadler winds. It's deflected. I don't know where he was shooting that, but it was way wide. But the puck's still in the zone, bouncing around. Kept in. No, it slides out to center ice. Hadler dumps it back. No, apparently it didn't clear. Hadler keeps it in again nicely. Here's Hadler into the corner, stick handling. Hadler centering pass, shot right on, and St. Arnaud makes the save.
You were commenting on the power play and the fact that we haven't been as productive as we'd like to have been. And that's really a telltale indication of youth.
That's right.
Patience with a puck handling skills, maturity, the ability to make wise decisions out there. Sometimes you pass that puck just a little bit too quickly, and that's what we've done all year long. Really, that will improve dramatically with experience in this team.
Tubolino to take the face-off. Still 17 seconds left in the man advantage. Off the draw, puck sits in the circle. Hadler gets it back to the point. Miller winds. His quick shot. Scores a goal! Danny Miller ties it up. A nice shot from the point. I don't know if it was deflected or not. It may have been, but I doubt it. And the Raiders have tied it on the power play.
On the power play, and again, what you're looking at there, certainly one of your more skillful players that had that puck. We won the face-off clean, and the puck came back to Dan Miller, who was on the right point. He took a step or two right towards the middle and let a very, very hard slap shot go. He was on his offside, so he had a full shot at the net with that right-handed shot.
For lack of anything better, I'm going to call it Danny Miller from Tubolino and Hadler, because I think Tubi won the face-off to Hadler. Hadler passed it to Miller. Miller got the shot. So that's what we're going to say. And that's the goal that ties it up on the power play. So we've got a 1-1 hockey game here at Lake City Stars Arena. But the puck is in the Massena zone. Tubolino back-checking, trying to come up with it. Battling for it there is Whitcup. He can't control. Jodwin centering pass goes all the way back to the point to Robert Gay. Here's Gay's shot through traffic, high over the net. It'll bounce back on the other side to Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell trying to dump it into the corner. Tubolino's there to pick up the loose puck, however. He'll start out right side of his goal. He stops on a dime, has it knocked off the puck. Whitcup has to come back for it. He's being bothered. Whitcup turns the other way. He'll flip it around. Good heads-up play by Whitcup that time as he didn't panic. Tubolino, though, can't clear the zone. Here's Franzon's shot. He fired it wide. Puck goes to Hadler. He's got some room, and he'll just ice it. But it goes right on net, so no icing called as Massena's going to get the line change and a little break that they need right now. We're all tied at 1 on the IceHawks custom screen printing scoreboard. Massena, Seton Catholic. Back in the Massena zone it goes. Back in after it. Alan Borden rips it around the boards, has it knocked away. Bouncing puck in front, and it slides off the end of the stick into the corner. That's Matt Jodwin. Jodwin trying to center it. In front, here's the shot, save made. Rebound picked up by Miller. He came through traffic, comes up with it. Flips it on the boards, but not out of the zone. Here's a shot turned aside easily by Leroy Swamp. To Borden, flips it ahead. It's deflected out to center ice by Zeppi Ogene. Back after it is Kevin O'Connell. The defenseman for Seton flips it back to the neutral zone, bouncing around there, and to the Massena line where Evan Labarge has it. Steps by a check, has it poke checked away. Here comes Alan Borden circling back in his own end. Looks, flips it ahead, out to the neutral zone, and back it comes to Seton Catholic territory where Jonathan Gay picks it up and drops it to his defenseman. They'll move it ahead to the Massena line. Intercepted there by Evan Labarge, looking for Supernaut. Supernaut gets the puck, backhands it into Seton Catholic territory where Robert Gay picks it up. He's looking for his wing breaking in. That's Luckin. Luckin gets tied up by Labarge in the corner. The puck squirting around. Luckin back after it again as they battle for it. And it bounces around into the high slot, but right there is Trent Thomas to break out of the zone. Thomas, he's got Jared Bradish with him. Thomas steps by a check, gets upended. The puck goes into the corner. And Thomas gets up again, has it poked away to the blue line. Miller's got the drive, his shot, and it's in behind the net. Trent Thomas again trying to center. Comes back to Miller at the left point. Again, he fires it. This time it's blocked, and Danny will have to retreat to his own blue line to pick up the loose puck. We're tied at 1 here on the IceHawks custom screen printing scoreboard. Here comes Miller again, and on the right wing side, Danny Miller steps through the check. He's upended. The puck bouncing around in front. Miller backhander, big save. The rebound bouncing around behind the net. Danny Miller putting on a show here this evening for the Massena Red Raiders. Back the other way comes Kevin Brannon. He dumps it deep in the Massena zone. Puck in behind the net. Picked up by Franzon. Centering pass goes to the side of the net, but Miller is there to pick it up. Here's Danny Miller flipping it on the wing for Trent Thomas. Doesn't clear the zone. Back to the blue line. Here's a shot knocked down. And we have a whistle as goaltender Leroy Swamp had lost his stick. It got caught in the mesh. You don't see that happening too often.
What had happened there, Ian Maxwell had lost his balance and had fallen into Leroy Swamp, and as Leroy tried to gain his balance, it got tangled up there, and he had to play the last couple of seconds of that shift without a stick.
Ouch. Anders Franzon takes the face-off. It goes in behind the net. Thomas Franzon knocked away, gets it back again. Short side shot, can't clear through, and Massena breaks out the other way. Petrie, nice headman pass to Tubolino. Poke checked away. Petrie follows up, tries to dump it in the Seton zone. It's intercepted there, and back the other way comes Robert Gay, loses it. Into the zone it goes again. His defensive partner, Kevin O'Connell, flips into the Massena zone. Here's an opportunity in front. Shot, and Leroy Swamp makes the save. Puck bouncing to Anders Franzon. Franzon trying to flip it into the corner. It goes. Matt LeClaire knocked away from him. Franzon again loses it. Raiders clear to the blue line. Not out. Here's the drive from the point. The shot and the save is made by Leroy Swamp. Puck still in the zone. Raiders need a whistle here to get the puck out of the zone. Here's Patrick moving it ahead. That's Patrick Horn we're talking about to Tubolino. Tubolino takes it across the blue line. Following up is Hadler. Nice pass to Petrie. Petrie to Tubolino. Tubi takes it in. Winds up his shot. He misfired on it with 9 seconds left in the period. Puck bouncing in behind the net. We're tied at 1 in a good first period here at the Lake City Stars Arena. Puck bouncing out to the... No, it's still in the zone. In behind the net as the buzzer sounds. And the Raiders come out of this period tied at 1 with Seton Catholic in a good first period. After that initial slow start where Seton got that early goal at 30 seconds, the Raiders came...
Preliminary rounds.
Okay.
If they get to the championship, then they'll play the third full game.
Okay. I was just noticing a friend of my daughter's is here, Lauren Mulva, who is a graduate of Massena, goes to Plattsburgh State. She came over to watch her alma mater play hockey here. Okay, stepping into the face-off circle. We're underway. Jonathan Gay facing off against Tubolino off the draw. It bounces back into the Massena zone where Danny Miller picks it up, flips it on the wing to Hadler. He can't quite clear, comes back to Miller, has it bounce by him. And back to the blue line, they battle for it. Finally, it's cleared, and Petrie almost barged his way through. And now following up is Tubolino. He can't do it. Pretty good play by Kevin O'Connell to save that opportunity. And he'll dump it back from the red line in the Massena zone. Back to Tubolino, has it knocked away. Here's a shot, save made by Swamp, and Massena will look to break it out. Here comes Tubolino, trying to step by the check, but it's knocked away. Back out to the neutral zone, and it's dumped by Matt Jodwin all the way down the ice, and he's going to be called for icing with 14-18 left in the second period, tied at 1.
I've noticed a couple of things that we don't usually see. I think they're sending that winger out of the zone a little bit tonight. A couple of times I've noticed that they're trying to spring the guy long. You know, that's not a bad thing. It'll keep those defensemen off the line and allow us a little bit more room to break out.
David Rogers taking the face-off against Anders Franzon. Off the draw, Thomas Franzon clears the blue line, not out. Labarge keeps it in, flips it into the corner. Racing after Jared Bradish gets a shot. Ooh, that's deflected just wide by Trent Thomas. Picked up by Franzon. His headman pass knocked down by Bradish. Following up, though, is Anders Franzon. Here's Anders Franzon in behind the net. He circles, looking to center, has it knocked away. Bouncing free alt toward the blue line, and out to center ice it goes. Raiders trying to follow up on the puck. Thomas can't come up with it. And now Anders Franzon is checked into the board. Thomas Franzon battles for it right at the red line. And Rogers is in there digging. Finally, it squirts into the Massena zone. Pat Horan also back there battling for it. It comes to Labarge. Here's Labarge looking for wing Thomas. Thomas has it bounce away. Here's a shot, goes wide in behind the net. Picking up the loose puck was Matt LeClaire. Johnny on the spot. Back to the point as Seton controls. Here's Thomas Franzon, gets the return pass. It bounces away back to the blue line. Here's the puck dumped in the corner. In behind the net, controlled by the Knights as they put some pressure on here. The puck bouncing around in behind as Brannon got a piece of it. Cleared to the blue line, takes a funny bounce out to the neutral zone, and Kyle Gagne will have to come back and pick it up. Gagne has it poke checked away by Thomas, but following up on the play is the other defenseman. He'll move it ahead into the Massena zone. It goes, picked up there by Patrick Horan. Bounce ahead to Thomas. Thomas going to Adam Smith. Smith trying to move it up to... Who is that rushing the puck? Is that Horan trying to rush it through? But it's knocked away, and back comes Seton Catholic's Foster. He loses the puck at the red line. Back comes Massena. Backhand pass in the zone by Matt Supernall. Back in the corner it goes, and around the boards. Hard check thrown. It squirts to Luckin. Luckin doesn't clear. Bounces out to the blue line. Still in the zone. Finally, it's backhanded. Miller whacks it down, but it gets away from him. But racing back is Whitcup to pick it up in front of his own net. Jake. Headman pass, a little bit too far. That's intercepted by Kevin O'Connell. He'll dump it back in the Massena zone. Whitcup back in after it. On the coach's corner scoreboard, it's still a 1-1 tie. Puck cleared along the boards to the 45. Raiders break it out. Here comes Massena's headman pass. Miller trying to rush it down the right side. He's taken out of the play nicely by Robert Gay. And back comes Seton Catholic. Here come the Knights. Kevin O'Connell into the Massena zone. Dumps it around behind the net. Leroy Swamp will play it into the open corner. Comes all the way back to the point to Robert Gay. He'll slide it right across the goal mouth. Hadler's there to pick it up. He flips it ahead to the blue line. It bounces in behind the net again, and Swamp doesn't like what he sees. He's going to hold on for the face-off. 11:38 left, second period. We're still tied at 1 on the Coach's Corner scoreboard.
Well, the play is a little choppy out there right now, even though it still looks like we're playing reasonably well inside our own end. Not a lot of shots on goal, a lot of pucks kind of bouncing around. But again, Leroy having to be on the spot on that save to stop it with 11:38 to go.
Off the face-off, here's a shot. Swamp makes the save. Anders Franzon won the face-off to Brannon. He got the shot right on, and we'll do it again. 11:35 left in the middle period. Franzon again, face-off left side of Swamp, wins it again to Brannon, and again he takes a shot, and again Leroy makes the save. Puck goes in behind the net. Right in front, it bounces off a leg out to the blue line, out to center ice. Here comes Massena. Trying to barge through is Hadler. It slides off his stick, where it's picked up by Robert Gay. Rips it around the boards, but not out. Kept in by Pat Horan. Horan can't keep it in that time, and back comes Anders Franzon. Franzon can't get by Tubolino back checking. He'll flip it in behind the net. Picked up and centered in front. Here's the shot. Thomas Franzon doesn't get through. Raiders break back the other way. Hadler is going to dump from the red line as Massena's going to make a line change. Puck rips around the boards to Robert Gay. He looks to move it up ice. Has it poked away, but then gets it out to center ice. Ahead it goes to Kevin Brannon. Brannon doesn't get by Miller. Miller knocks it off his stick, rips it around the boards to Jared Bradish. Doesn't clear. Here's a shot, goes off a leg into the corner. Labarge after it for Massena. Picks up a forechecker. Franzon steps in front. Goes back to the point. Here's O'Connell's shot, and that's wide. The puck rips around on the other side. Kept in by Kevin Brannon. In behind the net, Thomas Franzon trying to center, but it squirts free. Raiders move it ahead. Not out of the zone. Here's the shot from the point, and it's in the net. That shot taken by Kyle Gagne, and the Raiders committed a cardinal sin there as they threw the puck up the middle from the corner.
Yeah, very dangerous play there. The Massena team had received the breakout pass about the hash marks and attempted to make a wide wing pass at best, or at least a pass to the middle of the ice. The defenseman just stepped right up and robbed that pass and got good wood on it and put it past goalie Leroy Swamp.
So Kyle Gay unassisted. That's an easy one to call. And Seton Catholic takes a 2-1 lead on Massena on the Coach's Corner scoreboard. Next couple minutes crucial in this game. The Raiders have got to keep Seton off the board here. See what they can do. They've got the puck. It's Petrie. Petrie trying to flip to Tubolino, knocked away. Back come the Knights the other way. They got a 3-on-1. Offsides. Raiders catch a break.
Well, whenever that puck turns over high inside the zone, when we are on the offensive rush, you're going to catch everybody going in that one direction, and that's exactly what happened there. We barely got the puck over the blue line, and they turned it over quickly, and that quickly turned into a 3-on-1 play. Thankfully, they went off sides.
Off the face-off, puck. Hadler has it momentarily. Knocked away by Dylan Rayville. And in behind the net it goes, Massena zone. Whitcup with it, behind the net, being bothered. It squirts free, and finally it's Danny Miller coming up with it. Miller out left side looking. Bounces ahead. Oh, they were going for Petrie. It's going to be icing, but again, good chance there and a good try for Massena. 2-1, Seton Catholic leads on the Coach's Corner scoreboard. 9:47 left in the middle period.
That was a good look by Captain Danny Miller that time as he came around from left to right, or actually from his right to left, around the net behind Leroy Swamp. Saw Sean Petrie breaking across the neutral zone, just missed him on the offensive blue line.
Matt Jode went out to take the face-off. Off the draw, the puck sits in the circle. Into the corner it goes as they battle for it up along the blue line. It's poked out to center ice. Here comes Massena into the zone. It's Bradish. Centering pass in front. Shot. Score! Beautiful goal. Rogers gets the goal on a perfect pass from Bradish. And who fed it up the sideline? Did you catch that?
I think it was Danny Miller.
Miller, I believe you're right.
And that was almost the identical same play that happened just minutes before. We have Jared Bradish, who was breaking across the neutral zone and caught that long pass. He came into the offensive end on the left side. The defenseman went to play him. He put a nice pass right in front, and the puck went in the net.
Off the face-off, the puck back in the Seton zone. It bounces right on, and the goaltender will run out of his net and cover it up as the defenseman kind of nonchalanted it. It went right by him, and St. Arnaud came out to cover it up and hold on. So the Raiders come right back and tie it up, and we're tied at 2 on the Coach's Corner scoreboard. Face-off, Rogers in the zone. Seton Catholic bouncing around into the corner. Finally, it's controlled by Bradish. He can't control it, though, and it bounces to the blue line out to center ice. Dumped back in again, but it's going to be a hand pass called on Massena as Labarge gloved it down and is going to be called with a hand pass, and we'll face it off.
I don't know what the coaches have seen or if this is something new in their playbook or it's just the execution is better. Clearly, when our defensemen are handling that puck above the face-off circle in our zone, they're looking for a winger to get behind the defenseman tonight.
Absolutely. Off the face-off, Seton controlling to the Massena, to the red line rather. Patrick Horan is there to backhand it. It bounces off his stick up into the Massena bench, and we'll do it again. 9:10 left in the middle period, a 2-2 tie hockey game. Here's the official. Okay, they got it backwards. It was Rogers getting the goal from Bradish, and it was Miller who passed up the sideline. So we got that part of it right.
Are they yelling that loud, or are they using a microphone?
Doesn't sound like a microphone, but anyway, the puck back into the Massena zone, bouncing in front of the net, and finally it's picked up by the Raiders. They'll bank it out to center ice. Tubolino almost got a piece of it. Now Hadler, it goes off his stick, and back comes Seton into Massena territory. Matt Leclerc knocked off the puck. Bouncing into the corner, back to the point. Leclerc steps in front, his shot, and he fires it right at the breadbasket of Leroy Swamp. He'll hold on, and we have a whistle, little extracurricular activity, and I think the Raiders are going to pick up a penalty.
Yeah, we have Pat Horn going off for a little bit of a late hit there, and I think Coach Latham's going to have a little bit of a discussion with him on that. The play was dead, and I think the Seton player did take a whack at him, but
they always catch the second guy, John. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah, that's
so now we're going to see the Seton Catholic power play. We're tied at 2 here, nearing the midway point of the hockey game. Massena, Seton Catholic. Anders Franzon will take the face-off as the Raiders try to win the draw. It does not. It goes back to the point. The Knights control it D to D. Here's a quick shot. Leroy makes the save. Bouncing puck goes into the corner. Knights control. Raiders just trying to kill the penalty. Miller's out there. Adam Smith is out there. I think that's Lanning out there as well. And Tubolino, is he the other? No, we'll pick it up in a moment. It's Miller there. Here's the pass across D to D. Here's the shot, and it bounces into the corner. After it is Lanning. Bouncing in behind, still controlled by the Knights. They come from behind the net, but it's going to be intercepted, and the Raiders will dump it down the ice. That was Adam Smith doing a good job.
Nice puck movement by the Seton Catholic team. They, a lot of seniors, a lot of maturity, moving that puck with good intelligence.
And here they come again into the zone. They got Leclerc's shot, and he fires it up over the net. He kind of snuck by the Massena defense there. Raiders got to be careful about that. Puck dumped into the corner. Whitcup after it for Massena. Whitcup taken to the boards heavily by Thomas Franzon. Franzon's got him by about 2 feet. Franzon drops it back to the point, doesn't quite make it, gets it back again, circles, loses, the puck cleared but not out of the zone. Petrie had the opportunity, but it goes up into the bench anyway, and the face-off will move outside the zone with 20 seconds left in the penalty.
Nice penalty kill. The box is setting up nicely. You'll notice that the Seton Catholic team is, moving the puck around the perimeter. They've taken a couple of shots. Leroy has seen them cleanly.
Right, nobody in front of the net, and as long as Leroy sees the shot, normally he can make the save. Off the draw, the puck comes back to Rayville. Rayville almost lost it. Hadler throws a check. Rayville again. He flips it to an open wing. We're down to about 10 seconds left in the man advantage as the puck bounces around at the blue line. Still not in the Massena zone. They finally dump it in behind the net. After it there is Ian Maxwell, rips it into the corner. Hadler banging for it. Penalties elapsed. Raiders get a man back. The puck bounces right in front of the net, and over it goes into the corner where Jonathan Gay goes after it. Puck in behind. Along the boards to the blue line. Here's the drive from the point. Goes in behind the net. Puck bouncing around. And it's fired back to the blue line, but nobody there for Seton. It's going to roll all the way down the ice. 6:51 left in the second period. We're tied at 2. Massena Seton Catholic on the Coach's Corner scoreboard. Raiders Miller gets a piece of it momentarily, but Gagne is there to flip it ahead, and it bounced up off a stick into the Seton bench, and will face it off.
Pretty dangerous play there. A name that we've known from Massena, number 15, Chris Napolitan, was all alone in front of the net as that shot came from the point. I think it was deflected before it got to him.
I believe so,
but he was all alone there.
DeMarty will take the face-off now for Seton Catholic. And the puck, there's a scrum. Patrick Horan comes up with it momentarily, knocked away. Comes back to the Massena line. It's cleared back to the Seton line and goes by the defenseman Rayville back in behind the net where it's stopped by Saint Arnaud. He flips it along the boards, not out of the zone. Here's an opportunity. Nice pass work, bouncing in front of the net. It's still free back to the blue line, and they can't keep it in the zone. It'll roll back in the Massena zone. Leroy Swamp comes way out of the net and plays it. Now he's going to have to get back in the net because Seton breaks back in, and he slides in to make a save. Maybe not the best of decisions there, but he gets back in time as the Raiders clear. Looking for the long pass, but it's knocked away by Rayville. Rayville will dump it back off the boards deep in Massena territory. Swamp stops it, leaves it for Labarge, who rips it around the boards. Raiders try to clear, they cannot. The puck kept in and dumped behind the net. Bouncing in behind, picked up by the Knights. That's Luckin. Luckin gets tied up behind. I think there's going to be a delay penalty on Massena. Finally, the Raiders touch it, and the whistle blows, and somebody will be going to the sin bin for Massena.
Well, it could be Evan Labarge, who they may have interpreted as having too much continuous contact vis-a-vis a hold, if you will. But I'm not exactly sure. I couldn't tell if he had his arms wrapped around him or not.
It's a tripping.
Oh, it was a trip, was it?
Yeah. But it's going to go against Trent Thomas.
Well, there was a 2 involved there somewhere. So so that's Trent Thomas, number 22, as opposed to Evan Labarge, 2.
Too much continuous contact, huh? Vis-a-vis a trip. I like that. Were you trying to outdo the coach?
No, that couldn't be done, that's for sure.
Okay, Tooby out there to try to kill it off, along with Danny Miller, Petrie, and who's the other one? That's Whitcup, as the puck goes back in the Massena zone. Raiders looking to clear. They've got possession of the puck, and they're just wasting a little time now, ripping it down the sideline. They got it to Tubolino. He tries to step by the check. He's taken out of the play, and a good defensive play made by Kevin O'Connell that time. But a good opportunity and a good chance for the Massena Red Raiders. Right back comes Seton as they break in the zone. Here's the shot. Nice save. Great glove save by goaltender Leroy Swamp on Leclerc.
That was a nice move. Leclerc caught Leroy moving one way. Leclerc came down the ice, took Leroy moving to his right, and shot it back to the left, and Leroy had to do a split to make that save.
Puck stolen by Miller. He'll dump it from center ice back in the Seton Catholic zone. Kevin Brannon starts out on his left side. He'll flip it ahead to his defenseman O'Connell. O'Connell into the zone. Here comes Leclerc again. Gets a shot off. It goes high and wide. Picked up by Labarge. He tries to clear the zone, kind of fanned on it. Puck bouncing around. Goes in behind the net. Picked up again by the Knights as they move it around with about 20 seconds left in the man advantage. Back to the point. Here's the fake shot. Here's a sharp angle shot. Rebound bouncing side of the net. The Swamp have a hold of it. He does. Whistle sounds. Play is blown dead, and we'll have a face-off in Massena territory. 4:27 left middle period. We're tied at 2 on the Coach's Corner scoreboard.
That was number 15, Chris Napolitan, coming out from the corner, who put a shot on Leroy Swamp, who made the save but gave up a sizable rebound.
Would you call that a fat rebound?
That would be a fat rebound, and had to get some help from his defenseman to get that puck back into him so he could slow the play down.
Jonathan Gay takes the face-off, wins it back to the point, goes into the corner. Alan Borden knocked away. Tubolino gets a piece of it. He battles for it, can't clear the zone. Here's a shot, goes high and wide. Puck back to the other point. Rayville, can he keep it in? He does. Oh, hard check thrown there. Oh, boy, that was Petrie, and he just leveled the Seton Catholic player. Still in the zone, however. Shot and a nice save made by Leroy Swamp. Puck along the boards. The penalties elapsed, but Seton controls the puck. It's Jonathan Gay. Centering pass. In front, bounces away to the blue line. Out to center ice. Here comes Massena. Hadler, one on a lot. Winds up the drive. Higher over the net. Back to the point. Back out, back in. Delay offsides. Puck comes out of the zone, however, or Massena clears out of the zone. Puck still in, and here comes Gagne. He has to turn it around. Flips it back toward the center ice. Knocked away. Gagne again will high off the glass into the Massena zone. And racing in after it. Here comes Seton Catholic. Around behind the net, they score as the puck bounced in front. And I think it was Kellen Luckin who was there to get a stick on it. But that'll make it 3-2 Seton Catholic on what looked like not a very dangerous play. Ended up in front of the net and in the net.
Well, one of those plays where the defenseman really has to make a decision as to what he was going to do. Do I stay or do I go? And what ended up happening there, I think it was Evan Labarge, who ended up going towards the behind the net to attempt to play the player with the puck, and there was another guy in front of the net. And he's the one that tipped it in.
We'll see what the official is if I can pick it up, but I think it was Kellen Luckin getting the goal to make it 3-2 Seton Catholic. The Knights have the puck hit the side of the net with it. In behind, it's Whitcup with it. He'll flip it into the corner. Around the boards it goes, bouncing behind the net. And again, an important part of the play right here, as the Raiders have got to settle down, and they do move it to the blue line. Not out of the zone, however, it's dumped in behind the net. Seton putting on some pressure on Massena. The puck comes in behind Whitcup after it. Franzon, now they try to move it around. Bounces side of the net. That's Brannon, rather, to the blue line, but it's going to be intercepted. And the Raiders move it and throw it away. Back the other way comes Kevin O'Connell, and he fires it up in behind the net. Miller after it in the corner. He steps by a check. Danny Miller with a puck, looking, flips it ahead, out to center ice, bouncing around. Oh, and trying to sneak it by was Jared Bradish. He can't do it. It's dumped right back in the Massena zone. I think we're going to have an offsides or an icing perhaps. And with 2:31, here we go. So Gagne gets one assist and Dio the other assist.
Well, I'll tell you, that was really a tough goal. It was you're, like I said before, darned if you do, darned if you don't. And the judgment was to attempt to get to the puck carrier. He dished it off, made a nice pass. It was a nice goal.
So it's 3-2 for Seton Catholic. 2.5 left in the second period. Off the draw, puck in the circle. Raiders, here's the shot. As barging his way through, Petrie, wraparound attempt. And Tubolino couldn't put a stick on a good opportunity. Raiders keep it in the zone. Now it's bounced high off the glass, center ice. Picked up by Labarge. He flips to an open wing. Back in the zone it goes. And icing?
That was kind of a soft call there. I thought that was a really, really nice play by Evan Labarge, who had the puck back on his own blue line, feathered a nice soft shot that barely had enough steam to go over the red line, yet they blew it back.
So the faceoff will move back in Massena territory. 3-2, Seton leading by a singleton here on the coach's corner scoreboard. Knights win the draw. Here's the shot. Swamp makes the save. Bouncing puck side of the net. Cleared into the corner, controlled by Big Franzon, centered to the blue line. Here's the shot, knocked down, bouncing in front, goes up over the net. I don't know if Leroy got a piece of it, but it was pretty acrobatic what he did. Great opportunity, but now it's going to be picked up by the Raiders. Here comes Tubolino, knocked away by Franzon. Tubolino may have thought to pass the puck perhaps as Franzon just poked it away. Here's Franzon, back to the point. Here's the shot, bouncing in, save made again by Massena goaltender Leroy Swamp. Puck in the corner, hard check thrown there as they battle for it. Back to the blue line, kept in at the point again as they battle for it. It's tied up along the boards, the puck's sitting there. Tubolino comes and pokes it free. We have a whistle, and I think we're going to have a penalty or penalties from that scrum in the corner.
Well, I would be surprised if they did call anything. They would have to take two. And
what was the whistle for if they didn't call a penalty? I wonder.
Maybe they lost sight of the puck or something, but clearly they're bringing the face-off outside.
Well, good.
And really kind of a good no call there. I think that just two hockey players working hard against each other, and so I thought it was a pretty good call.
Off the face-off. Puck comes back to the blue line. Bouncing around. Into the zone, trickles out to center ice. Here's another shot, deep. In behind the net it goes. Flipped along the boards. Here's another shot, that goes wide. Just over a minute to go. Trying to clear the zone, the Raiders do not. Here's a chance in front, the backhander. And Leroy, I think, got a piece of it, or it was wide. Bounces in front again, it goes wide into the corner. Raiders Bradish picks it up, doesn't clear it again. Here's the shot from the point, knocked in front, cleared back toward the blue line. Bradish can't get it, it's fired wide. Under a minute to go here, but the Knights all over Massena. Puck around the boards. Stolen away, short side shot. Swamp makes the save. We have a whistle. And we're going to have a face-off in the zone, and I think we lost it again. And we're back here, 3-2 the score in favor of Seton Catholic as we get ready to wind out the final 38 seconds. The Raiders have had, 4 chances to clear the zone and have been unable to.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that, between after these 38 seconds. But, clearly the better the play in this second period has been with Seton Catholic.
Here's the puck bouncing into the corner. Massena trying to clear, and they do clear it out to center ice. It'll roll down in Seton Catholic territory. Petrie is digging for it, but coming up with it is Kevin O'Connell around the boards to the blue line. Brandon pokes it by into the Massena zone. Whitcup clears it, not out of the zone. Here's the shot, glove down, the rebound, in behind the net. Somehow that stayed out, I don't know how. It bounces along the boards into the corner. 9 seconds left. Here's another chance in front, bouncing around. And where's the puck in the corner? Whitcup will pick it up. He just wants to wind down the time, and he does. And how did that puck stay out of the net?
Well, Leroy must have made a heck of a save. We're
a long way
away from seeing that.
Someone was telling me he's been off 2 weeks. He was trying to get Seton to do a scrimmage with him. So maybe they'll have a chance to do that because they're both going to need some work before the playoffs.
3 times.
Tubolino to take the face-off against Gay, and we're underway in the third period as the puck goes back in the Seton zone. 3-2, the Knights lead Massena on the IceHawks custom screen printing scoreboard. Hadler with a puck, trying to center, has it knocked away, bounces in front, and it's cleared into the corner by the Knights. They pick it up and lift it high in the air out to center ice. Goes off board and skate into the Massena zone. He'll backhand it ahead to Tubolino, who clears it out to center ice, right back in, right back out. Tubolino, his pass kind of fanned, and it's dumped back in Massena territory. Swamp will pick it up, try to clear it around the boards. It's knocked away, and he's a little slow in getting back. Here's the shot. Ooh, that went off somebody. Another shot, and it's steered aside by Swamp in behind the net. Here's Hadler with it. Hadler trying to move it along the boards. Poked away out toward the blue line. Dumped right back in the corner. Raiders running around a little bit, having trouble clearing their zone as Borden finally picks it up, and he'll lug it ahead out to center ice. We got a delay penalty, and it's going to go against Seton Catholic, I believe, for slashing. Borden had his stick taken, knocked right away from him, and I assume that's what the slashing call was all about.
Well, no time like the present to get back on the scoreboard right now. It'll be, you see some guys taking a knee there. That number 1 unit was on the ice to start the game, and I know that Coach Latham would like to have him stay out there for this power play. Looks like we have Sean Petrie, David Rogers, and Trent Thomas with Danny Miller and Evan LaBarge.
Off the face-off. Puck controlled by LaBarge, or tries to control it. Franzon gets there first, pokes it ahead into the Massena zone. What a reach he's got, huh?
He's got a long one.
Back around the boards is Miller. Steps by a check, slides it out to center ice and takes a hit, and the puck is dumped right back in Massena territory. And the Coach McLennan loves to say that first pass is so important.
Well, they seem comfortable to try to turn this over in the neutral zone. So
here's Rogers. Head man goes off Trent Thomas' skate, but Miller follows up and dumps it. Ends up going right on. Puck sticked along the boards to the blue line, not out of the zone. Here's LaBarge, stick handling, and he dumps it in the corner. After this, Rogers behind the net, centering pass over on the other side. He'll go back to LaBarge at the point. The big windup is blocked. I think it actually went off a Massena stick, and it'll be dumped back to the Massena line. And Swamp comes out to play it to LaBarge. Evan LaBarge with a puck, down to about 30 seconds left in the power play. LaBarge will backhand it to Tubolino. Tubolino poked away, trying to stay with it. It's knocked away. Back in the zone. Here's the shot. Swamp makes the save on the shot taken by O'Connell. Following up in the zone is Anders Franzon, comes bouncing in front, and he scores a goal. Franzon gets a shorthanded goal to give Seton a 4-2 lead, and again another early goal in the period.
He turned that puck over in the right out high on the blue line and went around our defenseman I think what happened there, the defenseman looked tired. I think that not only did he start the period perhaps, but he was out there again at that power play. And I mentioned it before the start of the power play. Certainly, you get a lot of mileage out of Evan Labarge and Danny Miller, and they're called on to play power play penalty killing, and the legs go pretty early this late in the season.
Off the face-off, puck back in the zone. Massena still in the power play. There's Miller with it. Drops it to Trent Thomas. He's upended. The puck bounces free. Raiders control. Adam Smith in the corner. He gets knocked down. Coming to help out is Tubolino. They battle for it. Smith flips it around the boards for Thomas. He'll go back to Miller. Winds his shot. Save made. And it bounces up into the screen.
Nice goal, however, by Anders Franzon, who, again, he came in the zone and went deep into the corner with the puck and then came almost in a loop out in front of the net to put the puck by goalie Leroy Swamp.
Second unassisted goal by Seton Catholic, and that gives them a 4-2 lead here. Off the draw, puck to the blue line and out to center ice. Penalties elapsed. Raiders dump it back in. Delay offsides on Massena, but they're going to clear the zone. And Seton Catholic controlling the puck. Along the boards, it gets by Whitcup, and back into the Massena zone it goes. Whitcup in after it. Takes it around behind his net, looking to flip it ahead. Bouncing around to the blue line, not out. Here's a shot that's blocked, and it's going to go to Danny Miller. Miller high off the glass. Back to the Seton line. Glove down there. Raiders try to follow up. Zepiogi now back to Miller at the red line. He'll take it in on the left side. Miller gets by one. Here's Danny Miller. He's tripped up. There's going to be a penalty. Miller gets back up again and takes a check. Seton touches it, and the Raiders will go on another power play as Danny Miller drew that one.
Well, that's a very dangerous play too. Number 17 for Seton, Nick DeMarty. Actually left his feet and went on to his knees to take Danny Miller out of the play. And, you know, they talk about dangerous things like leg checks and the like. That's almost as dangerous as a leg check. He went right after his knees.
Face off with Massena on the power play. Rogers out there to take the draw. Borden and Labarge are the defensive pairings. Petrie at one wing, Trent Thomas at the other wing. Off the draw, the puck dumped all the way down the ice by the Knights. They have the 4-2 lead in the third period. On the coach's corner scoreboard, Raiders try to break it out of there. Rogers has it knocked away, and it's dumped back in the Massena zone. Rogers lost his stick.
Well, there's that good that pass work. That number one pass, as you mentioned before, is all that important. And it's not only whether it's on the stick, it's when it's on the stick.
Here's Rogers, kind of overskates, picks it up, trying to flip it ahead to Petrie. Petrie barging into the corner after it. Bouncing to Rogers. Rogers over on the other side. Raiders with a puck trying to center. They bounce around in front of the net, and I think goaltender St. Armand came out of the net and covered it up. He'll hold on for the faceoff, but a nice pass play by Massena.
Well, we possessed the puck all the way up the ice and into the zone. It went behind the Seton goal, and we did step out with it and tried to pass it across the goal mouth. He had to make the save. I think he knocked that pass down and didn't let it get across the goal mouth.
Face off inside. Tubolino to take the draw now. Off the draw, controlled by Seton, and they clear it out to center ice. And they're going to have a breakaway. Here's an opportunity, and we have a whistle. And what do we got? So holding call, a penalty behind the play. And that's going to go against Seton. I don't know how that happened. I didn't even see it.
It's not going against Seton. It's going against Massena, but I don't know why they blew the play dead. I think...
Trent Thomas gets the penalty? No, he's on the bench. What was the call?
He has a hold. I think he's trying to get Dan Miller. I think he's trying to get Dan Miller to go to the box.
Why did they blow the whistle?
Well, there's... Thank God they did.
Yeah. So Miller, that'll even things up. That coming at the 4:10 mark of the period. Miller gets the holding call, so it'll be 4-on-4 plus the goaltender.
Very curious play. I mean, here they come almost on a complete breakaway, and they blew the play dead because one of our players had been called for an infraction.
I'm not sure. Tubolino wins the faceoff anyway in the Massena zone to Hadler. Hadler stops behind the net. They don't put any time up on the clock, though. Maybe it's a misconduct, as the Raiders still have 5 players out there. That must be what it was. But why did they blow the whistle? Hard check thrown behind the net. And It bounces around in the corner, and finally it's tied up. So Miller is in the penalty box, but there's no time on the clock. So that leads me to believe it was some sort of a misconduct.
Well, Jerry,
I don't know.
You know, I'm still not sure what the issue is.
Why they blew the whistle in the first place, and now Miller's in the penalty box. And if it is indeed a misconduct, then it would be for 7.5.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He clearly grabbed his arm, and it would give the indication of a hold.
But there's still 5 skaters out there, so I have no idea. We're down to 10 seconds left in the man advantage for Massena. They control the puck in their own end. Long headman pass. Nice Smith. Adam Smith. Drop pass. Trent Thomas. Thomas out by the blue line. He's got some room. Passes across. Here's a chance for Hadler. Drive. Save made. It goes in the net. And Hadler blew it right by the goaltender. And the Raiders make it 4-3.
Now, I think that was a nice play. There was a good long pass. I believe it was to Adam Smith, who gained the line. Had a nice nifty little backhand pass to Trent Thomas, who was fairly high in the zone. He attempted to come across, and he put a long pass across the zone onto Jeremy Hadler's stick, who took a slap shot, and it found its way into the net.
So the Raiders are back to within 1. It's 4-3 Seton Catholic, and the power play had elapsed, so it's not a power play goal. Puck dumped deep in Massena territory. Swamp leaves it behind the net for Whitcup. Whitcup runs into some traffic. It squirts free. Right there to come up with it is Rogers. Rogers throws it toward the blue line, doesn't clear the zone. Here's a shot that goes wide by Anders Franzon. Raiders have to be careful of those throwing pucks up the middle there like that. Whitcup flips it ahead to Trent Thomas. Thomas, his headman pass is knocked away, and back comes Anders Franzon, dumping in the Massena zone. Labarge is there to bank it out to center ice. Petrie. Petrie turns it around to the blue line. Oh, you know what it was? They called matching minors. Here's a chance in behind the net. Bouncing around. That's why. Matching minors. Seton controls. Controlling it is Brannon. Brannon still got the puck. Rogers takes him into the boards nicely. Now the puck bouncing free behind the net. Whitcup after it in the corner. Throws a check. Trent Thomas with a puck. Nice pass ahead to the blue line. Rogers, can he clear it? He can't. Now it's poke checked out to center ice. Bouncing around at the red line. That's what it was. It was matching minors. Puck in the corner. Stepping by the defense, but coming up with it is Rogers. I think Rogers has had a strong game here this evening for Massena.
I think we've got a penalty coming right now to David Rogers. I can't be sure. Or maybe it's going to be on the ice.
The penalty box is right next to the bench, so sometimes hard to tell.
It is on the ice. David Rogers has had a strong game tonight. I thought he's played effectively in both ends, certainly getting a goal. He's been a physical player tonight, and he's shown good fortitude in the way he's approaching the game.
Off the face-off, Danny Miller, who's back out on the ice. Thank goodness it wasn't a misconduct, because we're going to need Miller. Raiders trail by a single goal, 4-3. Oh, Miller makes a stick handle move. Finally has it knocked away. Back toward the blue line, gets it back again. Flips it in the corner. Bouncing puck to Miller at the point again. He'll flip it in the corner. Picked up by the Knights, though, and they move it. Miller keeps it in again. He gets checked, and there's going to be a penalty. And now bodies are flying. Miller ends up on the bottom of the pile, and I think that Seton's going to pick up the penalty. It would be my guess.
Well, clearly, Dan Miller was against the boards when and took a very heavy check from the Seton player. That's number 4, I believe, who is Nick Foster Jr. And it does look like that is the only call. He hit him hard. He had the call, but he also threw him to the ice as well.
That coming at the 6:48 mark of the third period. So the Raiders go back on the power play here. They did give up a shorthanded goal, so they've got to be careful in their own end. Off the draw, the puck goes deep in Seton territory. Kyle Gagne rips it around the boards, kept in at the point. Here's Danny Miller, drops it off at the 45. Trent Thomas drops it back to the other point, kept in there by Hadler. Hadler will just dump it around the boards. In behind the net, Adam Smith takes the check. Thomas comes up with a puck. Here's Thomas. Back to Danny Miller at the point. Miller fakes the shot. Winds up the drive. We have a whistle. I think, what do we got? Man in the crease?
Yeah, man in the crease coming in. The Raiders are attempting to set up in that umbrella with Danny Miller out on the point, walking it across to the middle of the blue line with options to Trent Thomas to his left and Jeremy Hadler to his right, with both Smitty and Tubolino down low trying to occupy and create some traffic.
4-3 the score for Seton Catholic. Raiders on the power play. Bouncing puck dumped down the ice. Leroy will have to make a stop from the length of the ice. About a minute left in the power play. Here comes Hadler down the right side. He'll bounce it into the corner. Puck goes in behind the net. He takes a wicked check, stays on his feet, and the puck is cleared back down the ice. Miller back after it. Halfway through the third period, Raiders trail by a singleton, 4-3, Seton on top. Here comes Danny Miller. Headman pass, Tubolino. Here's Tubolino down the right side, takes it across. Tubolino chasing it down in the corner, has it taken away. Puck cleared, back, not out. Miller knocks it down, shoots, score! Danny Miller gets his second goal, and the Raiders have tied this at 4 with 7:08 left. Kevin Brandon had the puck behind his net, and he did what Massena did a couple of times, threw it up the middle. Miller gloved it down and fired it in the net.
Well, certainly an uncharacteristic play by virtue of what we've seen tonight by Seton Catholic. As you mentioned, if it was Brandon, I didn't see who it was. He did come around the net, trying to ice the puck, obviously. Danny Miller made a heck of a play, grabbed the puck, gloved it, put it down, put the shot on net, and we've got a 4-4 game.
Danny Miller gets the power play goal unassisted. And the Raiders have tied this one at 4, under 7 minutes to go. Back it goes into the Seton Catholic zone. Robert Gay, the defenseman, to pick it up. He flips it on the wing, doesn't clear. Back to the point, kept in there. No, apparently it squirted out of the zone. We got a delay offsides and a whistle. And we're down to 6:44 left in the third period. A 4-4 tie hockey game. You mentioned, John, the Raiders can score goals. They found they can score goals tonight. The key is to keep it out of the end.
Well, and again, just a nice play by Danny Miller. Here we are, every shift building confidence with this team. It looks like a different team than played in the second period.
Does it ever? Off the face-off, Borden with it. He'll dump it deep in Seton territory. Around behind the net it goes. Knights almost throw it away in front of the net, but they're going to clear it to the blue line. Borden keeps it in. It's going to be called for a hand pass, though, as he shoveled it ahead to Jared Bradish.
And that's a good play. Evan Labarge went down. That puck was bouncing out near the blue line, went down to keep it in, moved it forward, and the Knights player did not touch the puck before a Massena Red Raider player did.
So Rogers will take the face-off outside the zone against Jonathan Gay. Off the draw, it goes deep in Seton territory. Kevin O'Connell takes it behind the net, back to the point. Borden shoots one on, and the save is made by St. Arnaud. Puck in the corner, clear to the blue line, and this time it goes all the way down the ice. Will it roll for icing? No. Back to pick it up is Borden. He throws it up the sideboards, kept in the zone by Seton. Borden with it to Rogers. Rogers, nice heads-up move. He'll flip it ahead. Oh, he almost got Bradish. He does get Bradish. Here's Bradish skating in, but the goaltender is out of the net to flip it all the way down the ice. Back after it is Massena. Oh, boy, I'll tell you, Bradish almost got by. Oh, he almost got by. Here's Labarge. Headman pass. Doesn't clear the zone. Borden follows up. Flips it ahead to Rogers. Rogers turns it back in behind his own net. Stops. Gets a forecheck. Flips it on the wing. And down the ice it, went up into the Massena bench.
That's a good play.
Yes, it is.
And I'm telling you right now, David Rogers came back. By virtue of the scramble that was in our defensive end, he ends up getting the puck, and he was going the wrong way. When he got behind the net, he made a good decision. He just put the puck out of play without scrambling for it, and we've got a face-off.
4-4 tie hockey game on the coach's corner scoreboard. Off the draw, it bounces out to center ice. It's going to roll down the ice and trickles inside of the net. Picked up by defenseman Gagne. Clears the zone to the blue line. Miller's there to dump it back. In behind the net, the Raiders have to get on sides. The Knights pick up the puck and flip it ahead. On the wing it goes. Leclerc bounces it into the Massena zone. Here's Anders Franzon. Poke checked away by Miller. Miller takes him hard into the boards. Along it goes to the blue line. Not out of the zone. Picked up there. It bounces into the circle. Raiders pick it up. Break it out of the zone. Here comes Zepi Ogene down the right wing side for Massena. Ogene breaks it on the right side and has the puck taken away by Franzon. Big Thomas Franzon. Headman pass into the zone. They've got a man breaking. Leclerc shot. Big save by Swamp. Huge save by Leroy Swamp. He just outweighted him. Puck back to the blue line. At the blue line. Poke checked into the circle. Big Franzon's there. He gets a shot off. Fires it wide. Rebound. Short side shot. Swamp comes across to make the save. Labarge picks it up. Rips it around the boards for Hadler. Hadler looks to clear it. He's got a man breaking. Can Petrie pick it up? He races after it, but it's going to cross the line for icing first with 4:32 left in the third period.
I don't know how he got that puck. That puck just, it's like it was in slow motion. The puck just kept going behind our defenseman, and I think it was number 8.
Yes, it was, Leclerc.
Leclerc for the Knights. He just kept lugging after it and ended up picking the puck up. What a save by Leroy.
Face-off left side. 4-4 tie hockey game. In the third period, Raiders look to clear the zone. They do. It just bounces across the blue line to Bellino. Flips it ahead to Petrie. Petrie busts in. Here's Petrie's shot. Save made. Rebound. Bouncing around in front. They clear it to the blue line. Kept in. Horan. Can he keep it in? Nice job to keep it in. Bouncing puck comes to Petrie. Bouncing shot right on. The save made by St. Arnaud, and he'll hold on for the face-off.
Good job by Patrick at the point to keep that puck in. It was bouncing all over the place. He concentrated a lot on it just to make sure that, number one, he stopped it, and number two, it didn't get blocked out there, and he found a way to keep the puck low.
4-4 tie hockey game. 4:14 left in the third period. Off the face-off, Seton controls in their own end. O'Connell loses it behind the net, and it got tied up in the mesh behind the net. The whistle blows, and we'll do it again.
4:08 to go in the period here with Dan Miller and Jake Wickup out there with, I think, Bradish, Rogers, and Thomas. That's been a very good line tonight.
Face off, left side, win the draw. Here's a quick shot, but it's blocked, and it bounces out to center ice. And back after it is Jake Whitcup. He'll turn it around, flipping it ahead for Bradish. Bradish circles back in his own end and moves it out of the zone. Bouncing back to the Seton line. Robert Gay flips it ahead. They try to come up with it there. It's stolen away and dumped deep in Seton territory. Robert Gay after it. Under 4 minutes to go in the third. We are tied at 4. Puck comes back to the blue line. Rogers battles for it there. Still in the zone. It bounces right in the slot, but it's intercepted by Robert Gay. He moves it to the neutral zone. Miller's there to dump it right back. Danny Miller's had a heck of a hockey game for Massena, too.
He's played very, very well. He has been patient, and he's kicked the times when he's rushed the puck. He's been more accountable tonight defensively, and it's helped our team, I think.
Alan Borden in his own end for Massena, looking up ice. He's got the man breaking. Nice pass. Into the zone it goes. That's Hadler with it. Hadler takes it and drops it. Nobody there for Massena. It's intercepted, and back come the Knights. The other way, they got a man breaking, but don't get it to him. Here comes the puck at the Massena line. Borden's there again. Looks up ice. Flips it on the wing out to the neutral zone. Ray Villa's there to dump it back in. Borden again. Waits. He's got some time because Seton was offsides. Flips it on the wing to Hadler. Hadler slides it ahead to Petrie. Petrie poke checks it. It goes right in on the net. As he had one of the defensemen, Kyle Gagne, kind of hanging on him, and he couldn't really get a stick on it. It bounced and right to the goaltender.
We're down here just under 3 minutes to go, and we were talking about how effective Dan Miller has been tonight, and he has been effective in really all 3 zones. I thought his passing has been outstanding, and again, he has been exceptionally responsible inside his own end tonight, as well as contributing offensively.
Yeah, a couple of goals tonight for Miller.
And an assist.
And an assist. 4-4 tie hockey game. Miller with a shot through traffic. It's blocked. Gets back again. Miller pokes it ahead into the circle. Comes back to him at the point. He can't get a piece of it that time. And it bounces over on the other side, but it's still in the zone. Rogers whacks at it in front. Trent Thomas gets a quick shot off. It doesn't get through. 2.5 left in the third period. We're tied at 4 on the coach's corner scoreboard. The Knights dump it to the Massena line. Back after Jake Whitcup gathers it in, looks up ice. He's got Rogers, can't get it to him. It's back to the Massena line. Here comes Seton in the zone. Anders Franzon, pass in front to Thomas. Shot, save, and another big save by Leroy Swamp. The Raiders bounce it out of the zone. Raiders got caught that time, gave up a 2-on-1. but a good save by Leroy Swamp. Here comes Massena racing in the zone again. It's Jared Bradish after it. He can't catch up to it. Kyle Gagne does. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation. 4-4 tie hockey game. Thomas Franzon dumps it from the red line deep in Massena territory as the Knights make a line change. Here come the Raiders out of the zone. Alan Borden. Borden's headman right on the stick. Supernaw to Smith, who dumps it in the zone. In behind the net. Around the boards it goes. Zepiogene steps into a check and flips it behind the net. Picked up by the Knights. They look to move it ahead to the blue line. Borden, does he keep it in? He did somehow keep it in. Nice play. But now the Knights pick it up and flip it ahead on the wing. Into the zone they go. Here's an opportunity for Gay. Gets by the defense. Shot, score! Jonathan Gay puts the Knights up 5-4.
Good speed by Jonathan Gay coming down the right side offensively for the Knights. Just got a step on our defenseman. He spread his legs out and just protected the puck with his body as he forced himself in front of the net, and I think beat Leroy through the 5-hole.
So Jonathan Gay gets the go-ahead goal, 5-4, with 1:21 left. Massena's going to call it 2-1, 2-2, 3-1, or 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4, and now 5-4.
You know, and they really showed a lot of resilience, and I'm proud of the effort they put in tonight.
Off the face-off, the Knights control the puck. Just over a minute to go, and they have the lead, 5-4. They're going to dump it in the Massena zone. So the Raiders got to get the puck down, and they do. They catch a break here with the icing call, and down the ice it goes. So now they can pull the goaltender. Leroy's headed for the bench already with 1:10 left in regulation.
Well, that really...
that's another one of those.
That's a bad mistake there. I'm sure that the Seton coach is not very happy about that. But
So Tubolino out there to take the draw. Off the face-off, the Knights win it, however, and control the puck in their own end. Stolen away in front of the net, bouncing around to the blue line and up into the Seton bench. So the face-off will stay in Seton territory with 1:02 left in regulation. 5-4, the Knights lead.
And we have the goaltender out.
Oh, yeah.
And
the extra attacker.
The extra attacker, as they say.
Tubolino, Bradish out there. Miller, of course, is out there. Hadler, Trent Thomas off the draw. Puck in the corner. And again, picked up by the Knights. They clear to the blue line. Hadler can't keep it in. It bounces back to the Massena line. Danny Miller is there. Here's Miller looking up ice. Flips it ahead. Goes to Thomas. He banks it deep in Seton territory. Back after it is Brannon in behind the net. Flips it high on the boards all the way down. That's going to be an icing call against Seton. And again, the face-off where Massena wants it.
Well, it's, you know, you can have an opinion about that as much as we want. We certainly, they'd like to feather that puck out and have it not go all the way down the ice for icing. But in the end, if they want to relieve the pressure, they're going to do it and take the face-off. But it's in our favor right now. And here we have Seton taking a timeout. I'm sure Coach Wood is going to say, now look.
That's correct. 39 and a half seconds left in the third period. Seton leading Massena 5-4. And, you know, sometimes this is a game that really means nothing as far as standings or anything. Sometimes those are the best games.
Well, they are. And win, lose, or draw, we're going to take from this, and we're going to take some confidence into our playoffs. We've played with one of the best teams in the state right now, and but for a minute 21 seconds, it was an even game.
Off the face-off, puck in the corner. There's a battle for it there, and it goes in behind the net. Trent Thomas with it, turns it around, gets a shot, it's blocked. Here come the Knights, they flip it down the ice again, and it misses, icing the call with 23.6 seconds left. And that was Kevin Brannon, and he's holding his head. He was shooting for the goal.
Yep.
And he could have carried it out of the zone.
Well, let's see what happens if you get a little greedy there. There's no question about it. You've got enough goals to win the game. You just don't want to make the mistake to lose it.
You don't want to give Massena, and they, you know, it probably would have played out had he just feathered it out to center ice. Off the draw. Puck sits in the circle. They battle for it, and it's cleared. Now they're going to get the goal. Breaking down the ice is Matt LeClaire by himself, and he scores the open net goal, and that'll put it away for Seton Catholic.
You know, and it was a nice little soft play off the boards that sent LeClaire away to put the game clearly in the hands of Seton Catholic here with 14 seconds to go in the game. You know, the Raiders are bitterly disappointed, as I said before, but for a minute 21 seconds we're were right in this game. They had to take chances, no doubt about it. Pull the goalie out, pinch, whatever the case may be. Just couldn't get possession of the puck off the face.
That's right. That's right. Full marks to the Raiders, though, as Coach McLennan likes to say. Off the face-off, puck back in the Massena zone with 10 seconds left. Picked up, flipped ahead. Adler moves it out of the zone, dump right back in. That's going to take care of it right there as the Knights come back and defeat Massena on a couple of late goals, one of them an empty net goal. 6-4 the final, but like you said, Massena's going to take some things.